Alright guys, the time has come to start the apple butter, and my first job is to peel these apples. Now this recipe calls for either water or apple juice, and I'm doing a double run. So instead of 2 cups, I'm going to put 4 cups. So you can mix it up however you want. If you don't want to use apple juice, you can use all water. I usually do half and half because it's turned out good in the past, and that's just what I'm going to do. Now it calls for 4 cups of sugar, but I'm going to have to put 8 because I'm doing a double run, which seems like a lot, but I'm going for it. I always do a taste test before I can it, just to see if I need to tweak it a little bit. Sometimes I do need to add a little bit more sugar. Y'all, this looks like diabetes waiting to happen. I promise it's really good though. And last but not least, I'm going to put in my cloves. Alright, so I will be cooking this on low for about 10 hours. And that is why I call it Bedtime Apple Butter, because I let it cook overnight. I find that the perfect time to do it, because in the morning it's ready to be canned or eaten for breakfast. Good morning. The rains are back, but that's okay. I am going to be doing apple butter this morning, so it's perfectly fine to have a rainy morning and do apple butter. Let's go see what it looks like. My husband woke up last night and he's like, "What is that smell? What are you cooking?" It's an apple butter. And this is why I cook it at night. I've cooked it during the day before on the stove, and it just wasn't as good as the previous times I've made it in the crock pot. Alright, so I'm going to use my immersion blender, and this is what I use to blend this up. It works great. Now, whenever you do this, put it down in here first, below the surface before you start it, because you don't want it to pop out and burn you. So I've got my apple butter mixed up to the consistency that I like it. I don't totally puree it just because I like a little bit of texture to it, but that is totally your choice. So it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to let this cook. It might be a couple more hours until it mounds on a spoon, and when I do get it ready to that point, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll start the canning process. I do have my jars ready. Then I also want to tell you guys that I've been using these Harvest Right lids. I do like these. They're cheaper than the ball canning. I was able to find them a little bit easier this year. I think they're $2 and something for a 12 pack, which is pretty good. And I haven't had any fails on them in using them this year. Good afternoon. I've got to go down in the greenhouse and check everything and see if I need to water in there real quick before I get ready to can. And it is still raining. We're at 56.3. So I didn't turn my pellet stove on last night because the temperature was just kind of in the mid to upper 40s, and I knew that it wouldn't get too cold in here because it was sunny yesterday and it was going to retain some of that heat, and it didn't. It was probably upper 50s in here last night, which is pretty good. I went ahead and brought my lemon tree up to the house so it could have a little bit more warmth, because I want to show you guys something on it that is a neat surprise that I noticed. But everybody else is in here hanging out on this rainy day. Alright, time warp. I told you guys I was going to show you something on my lemon tree. Well, I lost my footage and I had to make another clip, and it's a day forward and there's sun. Look at that. It's amazing. We're going to go back to rain again in a second. But while I'm here in the future, I want to show you guys these lemons. Look at that. So before I only had like 1 lemon on each end. Now I have a whole cluster of them. Super cool. I'm really excited, y'all. Oh goodness. I'll keep you updated on it. All right, I gotta go back to the past. See y'all in a bit. So I'm setting my oven on 200 because I'm going to start warming my jars up. And I do that whenever I have pretty warm liquid going into them, just so they don't go into shock or I don't have any of them break or anything like that. And I'll also be dropping them down into hot liquid as well. So there are different ways you can do it, but I sometimes just put them in the oven and warm them up that way. You can also put them in the canner and warm them up. Alright guys, it's reached a rolling boil, so this is when you want to start your 10-minute timer. And that is all it takes to water bath apple butter. It's super easy. So after that occurs, I will turn off the stove, I will remove the lid and let it cool for about 5 minutes, and then I'll take the jars out. All finished. All finished. Well, I've steamed up the kitchen today. Look at that. Still raining, guys. Anybody know any like rain dances or anything to like get the rain to go away? Maybe the sun to come out? Sun dances or something, I don't know. I think it's supposed to rain again tomorrow. I mean, I'm not like super upset about it. I've enjoyed making apple butter and staying in today. Winter is definitely a way of kind of slowing us down and making us appreciate the springtime when it gets here. But I am looking forward to the winter. I'd like to have a couple snows, some pretty snows. So hopefully there'll be some in the forecast before too long. They will need to rest over here on the counter for about 12 to 24 hours. We'll make sure the lids seal and then put it away. Now I'm going to use mine for Christmas gifts. It is a super good gift to give away, and it is also amazing tasting. If you've ever had this apple butter compared to what you buy at the grocery store, you'll never go back. So that is why I love to do bedtime apple butter. It's super easy. Most of the cooking time occurs at night. Now, it did wake my husband up in the middle of the night. He asked me what was cooking in the kitchen. He's like, "Are you making bread in the middle of the night?" Which I'm not sure why he asked me about bread. Maybe he thought I was making cinnamon rolls in the middle of the night. I don't know. I could be. Who knows? Who knows? Sometimes when I can't sleep, I do get up, but I don't ever make cinnamon rolls, but I could. So anyways, it is a great thing to make. So if you want the bedtime apple butter recipe, I am going to put it in the description. And here again, it's easy and delicious. All right, you guys have a wonderful day.